Hello everyone and welcome to a brand new Let's Play of Hattrick. This is actually the second playthrough of Hattrick that I'm putting on my channel. The first one got well in over 100 episodes and I had fun. But I had to end after this long time due to a combination of mainly two things. First, I really had a lot of changes in my life that made it impossible for me to continue devoting the time to the game and the Let's Play. And the second one, I was a bit off in a rut and a bit bored of the game. And I decided that it's easier to just scrap it and maybe return later than to actively continue feeding my time into the game. So this time I'm hoping that I'm going to build upon all of the experiences that I gained last time and maybe on top of some things that I will learn this time, and that we might actually see a bit more of a progress in a shorter amount of time. So let me just do this first episode as an overview of the game, where we are, what's going to happen, what my plan is, and I can't really say right now if I'm going to do updates weekly, bi-weekly, or maybe 2 updates per week. I guess it's going to depend on what's going to happen in the game, but I would like to get involved more in the community side of things this time, read a bit more about what the game is going through, and I'm actually going to show you some things that I never did venture into before, and I hope that they're going to be interesting for you. So let's start by doing a small overview of what is Hattrick. Hattrick is a free-to-play online massive multiplayer management game in which you take control of a football team and you are trying to build it up, in short, manage it, so that you win cups, you win tournaments, you win friendlies, you make your fans happy, you train your players, and you eventually advance into the higher leagues and maybe even the highest league, with some of the players being blessed with the ability to actually lead the national teams of Hattrick. So it's kind of interesting concept. It has been around for over 20 years, I believe, at this point, and it is well rounded. It has a lot to offer, and it has a stable player base. So basically, when I left and I came back, the game is, if not more active than before, it has the same amount of activity. Last time, I actually went with what the game has suggested, and I had a team in Czech Republic. It was located in Prague, and this time I decided to do something a bit more exotic for myself. I contacted the administrators of the game and I asked which country in Europe actually has the most teams. Turns out it's Italy. My guess has been UK, but according to their statistic, UK has about 1/3 of the players that are in Czech Republic, while Italy has about 4 times more than Czech Republic. Putting the numbers somewhere around, if I recall correctly, 40,000 players in Italy, 10,000 players in Czech Republic, and only below 4,000 in Great Britain. So I always thought that, football would be very popular there, but for some reason, I guess this game never really caught the British eyes, which is sad, So, why Italy? We have cleared. I want to have as much activity in the country that I'm playing in as possible, because it's going to be a bit more interesting to look around and see the see the country and all that's happening there. Now, I am very handicapped by the fact that I don't speak any Italian, so yeah. But again, if you guys want to join and play in Italy with me, that is completely fine. So I decided to name my team FC Pigneto, which is an actual part of Rome. So it's named after part of Rome, very small one called Pigneto. It's actually a famous part, as I learned out. I just looked at a map and randomly just started Googling the parts. We started last week, so the team is very young. You can see it in the fact that we have only 120 members in our fan club, which means that only a week has passed. Actually, exactly a week has passed since I started playing the game again. We have Stadium Pigneto, and our people are kind of cool. Now, I'm gonna go through the players first and showing you some stuff, so if you don't catch everything that I'm saying, do not despair. Feel free to ask questions in the comments or wait a bit, and I think I'm gonna be able to explain everything. So our team has currently played only 2 matches. There is a number of matches coming up. We are part of a series, or you could call this a cup, which is the 8th division out of 8. You can see that there are higher divisions that you can look into. Any higher division than the one I'm in has automatically full amount of players, which is awesome. So you can see how these go. Here are their victories and losses in the last matches that they played. We are currently, as I said, in the 8th out of 8 division, and out of the 8 teams here, you can see that 3 are players, and well, 5 are computer players. So we're actually in around 11 out of 14, so the season is slow ending. You can see this is the 79th season. I have to admit that I'm kind of sad because the first match that we actually played against a computer player, we lost 2-0, which is a bit of a slap in the face. I was kind of sure that that's not going to happen, but okay, things can happen, and it was our first match, so I don't really care. But for each match you get some money, some feedback, and even though that we lost this one, it went into a boost in our fan base, which is okay, and it actually made our finances flourish a bit. Tomorrow at 12:20, on Saturday we are playing another cup match against SS Litoriana, which is again a computer-controlled team. They lost most of their matches. It's kind of funny because in the original one, the game has claimed that it's going to be a piece of cake for us to win, while they were sure to lose. We failed miserably, and now the game is saying that it will be a close affair. So I'm kind of interested in seeing what's going to happen. Quite interestingly, they got 784 fans in the fan club of SS Litoriana, meaning that this has until recently been controlled by an actual player. So I'm not entirely sure what we're going to face, what kind of players, because I don't know how this mechanic works. Is if you're inactive for a couple of months, the game takes away your team, but I don't know if it resets the players or just lets them in there. If that's the case, we might really lose the next match as well. But I don't really care. Quite honestly, the first season, and probably even the second one, is just going to be a breeze for us. We're just going to try to train our players, build up the financial background of our team, and see to it that in the future we have a solid base to work with. So, as I said, the next match will happen very soon. Actually, I don't know if it's going to be... I think it's going to be played away, isn't it? Yeah, it's going to be on their place, their arena, which has capacity of 12,000 people. I was kind of really saddened about the amount of people that came to our arena. We had only about 2,822 people coming, which led to around only 30,000 in the match takings. But, it's fine. It's fine. As far as the match goes, you can see everything as it happens here. Your team actually gets a set of statistics. You have midfield, right defense, central defense, left defense, right attack, central attack, and left attack for both of the teams. These are compared together with some other things. You can see that my team attitude was played cool because, we're not in a hurry. We want our team to be fine, no injuries, no stress. Just, become happy and content. There are some average ratings that you can see here, how our average midfield was, average defense. And in most cases, we were actually better than the computer player that we played against. Still, we lost 2-0. That can happen. It's okay. I was watching this match live, and as you can, there is an actual live function. And up until the halftime, I was kind of surprised that nothing happened. And then we just lost 2. We just got 2 goals. So, yeah, that was actually kind of sad. But whatever. That was the first match. It doesn't really matter to me, as I said. So I was just kind of happy to get the ball rolling, actually. This was a day after I have logged in. I started on Friday, so the team setup and everything was really basic. I did not really know what I'm going to do. I had to make some actual some actual strategy, and you are not ours. Okay, yeah, there was I didn't even realize that there was a yellow card passed during the play in 79 minutes. The referee showed S. Martinez Mario Scavetta the yellow card after a particular nasty challenge. So this guy has actually hurt one of our players, probably. Nope, no, he didn't do anything. He was just being a douche. Okay, so this is what the match looks like. You get a nice relay report from it, some money from it, and that is cool. Now, as far as money goes for us right now, we are doing very good. We had a revenue of 74,000 euros this week and expended about 114,000 euros this week. But last week, we actually had a revenue of 210,000 and spent only 13,000. So, this is pretty cool. We are fine. As you can see, the income has been pretty decent in our favor, and cash funds are 232,814 euros currently. So we are fine. Most of this money that we got, you can see 210,000 here, weren't from matches or anything. It was just the basic stuff that you do in the beginning. You have something called the manager license, which is supposed to take you off from the ground. There are some tasks here that you can do, and that I did most of them. I haven't actually fired anyone, so we can get additional 15,000 euros. But yeah, we got us from the ground as far as finances go. So I'm happy with that. This is fine. The fans were a bit taken back. Yeah, here you can see expected. We will win, and we lost. So they have actually changed quite of their attitude. And this is the first time that I have actually seen that we are not worthy of this division being expected by our fans in the lowest division. Every single time that I've played this, it usually said either we have to win this season or aim for the title, and our fans are actually pretty skeptical. That's making me enjoy the game most when you are fighting against the odds, but we're actually fighting against our own fans. But okay, we get 100. You started with 100 members. We are at 120 right now. We will gain more as the time progresses, but there is a bit of a simple mathematics to this, as far as I noticed in my previous playthrough. Basically, it stops somewhere, and based on the fan mood, you can go a bit over the expected number for each division you are in. But you can quickly start losing them again if you, for example, get beaten in a match that they expected you would win. Now, there's a huge boost if you move up a level, and that's just how it works, because every year the fans give you like extra piece of money because they sign as your fans again, and you get some money out of that. So we're not gonna get that much from them this year or this season. Sorry, not year, but this season, because we won't get that many of them before the next season starts. But again, it's you never know when you join, so we started now. Now that's finances. Part of the finances actually is also your sponsors. The sponsors are, again, they can have a number of moods. Right now they are satisfied, and are the people that are sending you most of your money. They keep your team afloat. They, actually play a huge role, so you need to make sure that both your fans and sponsors are happy. At least not unhappy, because if they are, they will keep giving you money and sponsor your club, and generally you will be fine. The amount of fans and sponsors actually influence also the turnout on your matches. So as we will get a bit more popular with our fans, more people will start showing up on our matches, and that again earns us money in revenue. So that's the general overview of the finances, so you guys know where we are. And right now I'm going to move to my team and show you what we are doing. Now, you already noticed that there are some players in these matches. You can prepare a fairly concise strategy for your teams, and I have set up this now about a week after I joined the game, due to the fact that I decided that my strategy will, or what my strategy will be. Now I'm gonna explain this in a bit more detail, so bear with me. This is something new for you. It might not be, but still, you know, it's a bit of a good thing to look back into. So you have players. Your players have some stats. We currently have 24 players, which is way more than we actually need, but I'll keep it that way for some time until we get from the ground, because your players can get hurt. Now, each of the players have some, not some, but certain statistics which come into which come into the play when you actually are playing the match. So I'm gonna use the first one that is offered here. Well, actually no, let's find our best player right now. Who has the highest TSE? Okay, let's use Petru Băsescu here as an example. He's 17 years old and 71 days. Now, this is currently our strongest players. Their value is set in what is called a TSI, which is like total skill index. Here you can see how much we're paying him every team, and if he has a specialty. He doesn't. But he has something called form and stamina. Form is the general well-being of the player. It can go up and down, not sort of randomly, but, you know, it can go up and down based on various factors. And then there is stamina, how well this guy can perform and how fast he gets fatigued. The performance of your players go down based on their stamina as the match progresses. Now, there's some general statistics here which are actually very important. Băsescu is a popular guy, meaning that when he joins your team, he's not likely to tank the mood in the team, but he's fiery and dishonest. So this guy is bound to get into a lot of conflict during the matches, and he might even hurt the opposing players and get himself some bad cards. You can see that he can be infamous, dishonest, honest, upright, righteous, and saint-like. I don't remember seeing someone being a saint, but there it is. He has wretched experience. Again, experience improves his performance during the match. Weak leadership. This comes into play in case you want to turn him into a trainer. And he has poor loyalty. Again, loyalty gives you up to 1 extra stat into all of his skills, or a stat point or skill point into all of his skills based on his loyalty. He has been recruited recently. You can see that here are the possible levels of his, all of his abilities, but also his loyalty. So he's very poor right now, but this is going to go up as he stays in the team. Again, this is a new addition to the team. I'm going to explain that in a bit. But Băsescu has a disastrous skill as a keeper, so you don't want to, put him into an actual you don't want to have him as a goalie, basically. He is weak defending. His playmaking, though, is excellent. His winger is inadequate. Passing is weak. Scoring is inadequate. And set pieces are poor. Now, what does this mean? This means that this guy is best in the inner midfield because his playmaking is excellent. He would do a sort of a passable winger for us right now. If you look at that, he's inadequate. His defending is weak, meaning that he's not going to be doing as much, same as passing, scoring, and set pieces. The thing is that each of these skills has a various weight depending on where the player is put. Now I'm going to demonstrate this simply. I'm not going to go into much detail, but you can see that we have Băsescu in our midfield, which means that he is using not only, but like 95% of his performance depends on playmaking. If I put him on the central wing, well, actually not the central, but like inner midfield wing, or actual wing, this would be the back wing. So if we put him on the wing, he would be using most of his winger, but also his playmaking skill, and also a bit of his defending skill. If we put him as a back wing, he would be using his winger and defending quite a lot, a bit of his playmaking, and quite a lot of his passing. Actually, passing is useful for everyone. That's one of a weird skills. Inner midfielders are also using scoring and passing. They're also using defending. So it depends, but the weight of each of these skills changes based on where you put them. So it's not always that like a very good player that has very high playmaking but nothing else is the best star in the world. He actually needs a bit of everything. And you can actually put, for example, you can see that my player here, Sven Karsten Beren, is playing inner midfielder, but he's set to play towards the wing because he has quite a high winger skill, and we're taking a benefit of him being dedicated sort of to the wing. You can see the overall stats here, and if I actually turn this off, it's going to show you that doing this will make our central attack stronger a bit, but the this would be the right scoring or left scoring, either one. This one is taking a big hit into performance because he is just better playing like this. So you need to play a bit with your players. There's an actual big math into this. You can look it up, how what skill each of the players need, but eventually you kind of memorize the general mechanics and you learn how that goes. Now, this is just the general overview, so you know how these players work. But what's also important is their age. The players learn the skills and get better the faster they are younger. Yeah, the faster they are younger. That is a weird sentence, but you know what I mean. The younger the player is, the better he performs and the quicker he learns. The older he gets, the less he can learn. Now, this might be actually obvious, but there is an age of 30, which is like a breaking point for the player, at which point he actually starts losing his skills slowly. Every week he's gonna lose a bit, and while he approaches, say, 40, he is gonna lose them so quickly that in 1 or 2 seasons he's gonna lose most of his skills. The older players are also much more likely to get hurt during the matches, and that is not something you want. But they're also going to have much higher skill. So you need to find a balance between the team that you have and the age of the team. Now, what is also important, and I know this is a big introduction, but bear with me, we're getting to the point that I'm trying to make, is the training. Now, you have a number of possible training settings here. You can see that we are now training playmaking. Playmaking means that every player on your team gets a boost in playmaking. Of course, the players playing inner midfield get the highest boost. The ones playing on the wings get about a half, and the rest of the players get a tiny increase. That's actually what it says in the manual. There's a number of things that you can do here. You can play defending. Defending again, the defenders would get the biggest boost. Back wings would get a smaller boost. The rest would get a bit lower one. Scoring helps mostly the forwards and a bit, I think, to the wingers. Passing helps everyone. Keeper is training only the keeper. Set pieces are training, I think, everyone as well. I'm not entirely sure. I never really put that. So we are training playmaking. There are 2 matches per week. You can have a friendly and you can have a cup match, meaning that you can train 6 players because you have 3 in the midfield per match. So 6 players fully and 4 players on the wings at about half the pace. I trained playmaking before and I decided to do it again because I know how to do it. It actually shows it here. Sorry, let's reset that. I didn't realize that there's a diagram here. That's awesome. If you put defending, yeah, it shows who it's training. So the full circle is the maximum bonus. Scoring just really trains the forwards. Passing, you can see, is for almost everyone. Set pieces is for completely everyone. So we're working on the playmaking. Wow, I could have saved so much time if I actually checked this beforehand. Sorry about that. I really don't know. They added this nice diagram here for people to not having to go back to the manual. So we're playing playmaking, training playmaking, because that's what I'm familiar with. But I'm planning to maybe eventually switching to defending or maybe wingers. We're going to see down the line how our team is going to shape and perform. But because I can train basically 6 people at full and 4 people at half the speed, and because you guys know that I mentioned that the age plays a big role, I actually reached out immediately and hired 6. Actually, I didn't hire 6, but I looked for 6 trainees that we can have. And these are the ones that we're actually working on. When I set it to age, you can see that we got Nico Salmistraro, aged 17 and 10 days. Very young player with a very decent playmaking skill for his age. We got Baptista Ferreira. He's 17 years old and 58 days. Very solid playmaking as well. But you can see that he has the same skill as Nico, even though he's much older. So that at this age, he's probably going to have excellent playmaking, which is going to make him much more useful. Though Baptista has an advantage of having higher defending and a bit of higher winger. Juan Sote, his age is 17 and 59 days, so only 1 day older. You can see his playmaking is inadequate, but I picked him up because he has a solid defending. So once he gets his playmaking up and running, he's going to be very valuable because he has an extra boost from defending. So he's going to boost the inner midfield and then also your defense. Petru Băcescu is another trainee that we have. He has excellent playmaking, being 17 years and 71 days old. And he has a pretty decent winger, so we already spoke about that. And also pretty decent scoring, so he's giving a boost to forward and wing as well. And the last trainee that we have here is Sven Karsten Bieren, who has playmaking of passable, but a solid winger. So he's really good as well, and a decent defending. Now that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah. So we're also training Celestino Vecca, I think is that pronounced in Italian. And this guy has a solid scoring, nice passing and winger, but his playmaking is awful. But I decided to go with it because we already had him. If you look at this, it says that it has a mother code bonus, so this is actually not a trainee that I would purchase. You can see these guys are all new. But Vecca is the player that we have been given, and I actually can see quite a lot of potential in him. So I decided to just have 5 extra trainees that I will hire and train Vecca as well. We have a couple of other players here that I'm actually planning to work with, but they're going to be on the wings, so they're just going to get a decent normal half bonus every week, and they're gonna eventually get better. But these are the trainees. The trainees I'm gonna work with, and we're gonna sell and hope that we are going to make a ton of profit. Now, this is a mechanic that I would like to explain, but first of all, let me show you one thing, and that's the transfers, because we were actually, or I don't know, I was very lucky. I actually got all of these trainees extremely cheap, with the exception of Băcescu, and you know, he was worth it because he's already at 8, being at 17 years old and 71. So I consider this a fair price. What you can do here is you can look at the world screen and the transfers and see how the trainees can look. If we're going to look specifically on the ones that are 17 years old, when we look, for example, at a solid skill as a minimum, you will see that the prices here change dramatically. Like this guy is 17 years old and 42 days. I could get him right now for 10K. But there are some that are way more expensive. For example, this guy, well, that's a bit of a stretch. They're asking for €1 million for him. But he's really good still. He's got, 17 years old and 49 days. And he already has playmaking of solid, scoring of passable, and defending of passable. So this guy is actually really, really good. He's not worth $1 million, but he's really good. There are sometimes players that are definitely worth insane prices. I don't know if we can find some like this, but if we would put it up a bit, I'm not sure if it's going to show us some. Yeah, like well, they're asking 2.5 million for this guy. Though he has formidable playmaking, defending of pass. So this guy is a board, and he has a specialty. He's a technical specialty, which gives a huge boost to the playmaking, to in the midfield, not to playmaking to be per se. So this guy is not worth maybe 2.5 million, but he's extremely good. There might be some that you would see here being bid on. This one is actually, yeah. These are all kind of overpriced. My experience says that you should, if you want to sell a player, put him on the market for 0 and let the market decide his price. I never had, that fail me. You might not get exactly what you think, but for example, this guy could sell for 1.5 million. I don't know. I don't, know the prices of trainees. I can just judge them, what I think is good and what's not. But eventually, my plan is to sell these first trainees and get much better trainees that will be better for a higher price. For example, this guy has 17 years and 92 days. He has an outstanding playmaking. So someone like that, right off the bat, could be a good trainee if he wasn't, this expensive. This only increases with time. If we, for example, look at 19-year-olds, and we're going to put world class there. I don't know if anyone can have that, but yeah, you can see that some of these are selling for 4.5 million. Yeah, wow, this guy is amazing, though 12 million might be a bit too high, but you see how the prices increase. So the goal that I'm going to do with this first round is to get cheap trainees, get them to decent skill, and I'll sell them for profit. Once we've done that, or once we actually get a lot of money, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to look for a bit of older players. For example, I don't know, maybe 30 years old, 35 years old, somewhere in that price range, because their price starts dropping at that amount. You can see, for example, this guy, 34 years old, 37 days, has excellent skills, playmaking, passing, and scoring is amazing, and we could get him for less than 800k. So if I get a trainee that I got, for 5k, sold him for a couple of million, then I could get players like these in my team and use them as, bulldozers that would lead me to this 7th or maybe even 6th series. So this is the general plan. We're just gonna, focus on playmaking for now, eventually adding more of these players. This one could be also great, but it depends on what's going to be on the market once we're done. Some of these you can get really, really cheap if you're lucky. I know that I bought some that were like 37 years old for almost nothing at that point, because people are desperate to get rid of them. Yeah, like this guy has scoring of 11, passing of 10. He's 47, and we could get him for 50k. I could get him right now, and he would be much better than any player that we have. Though his skills would deteriorate. He's going to be for a season or maybe 2. But for 50k, hell, that's a great deal, And this is the starting point that we're going to go for. And eventually we're going to keep some of our trainees, maybe switch to defending, try to build up a team, and build it from the bottom up. Basically trying to get as far as possible, but that's very far in the future. But I just want to explain, because I'm going to focus on the trainees right now, try to make them get better, devote them, rotate them, while we will probably not get promoted from the series this or the next season. We're going to see how money will be, but this will be the goal. Just train players, get a decent amount of people, and if we actually have some spare change, I can throw it at players, I can throw it at some wingers and so on, getting some older players in that will drive us forward for a couple of seasons, maybe even one season. But hey, it's gonna be worth it. But right now, as I mentioned, our finances are a bit desperate. I actually think that there is a sweet spot for most of these players. For example, if some of the trainees that we have here are going to get to a skill of 10, maybe 11, I might try to throw 1 or 2 in the market and just reinvest the money that we gain into a better training, because every day and every level that this player has will eventually come back in a form of a massive increase of his price. So while these guys all look nice, they're far from ideal. They will be very useful, they will sell for decent price, but they will not be great. They will not be great, and they will never be superstars. But there are some players, some trainees that you can get that will be extremely good. Like at straight 17. Actually, I'm gonna try to show you one of those as the last thing before I move on. Transfers world search. Wait, what am I doing? World transfers. Let's see, just 17. I don't think anyone here will be that good, but 400. This guy is very old. I'm looking for someone really young. But yeah, like a guy like this is actually pretty good if he only had a specialty. You know, because this guy is, for example, much better, though he's much older. So again, these guys are not ideal. But sometimes you just see a player that's amazing. You know, like this is actually pretty good. Passing of solid, scoring of outstanding, playmaking of passable. At this age, this guy is really amazing. He could be a bit younger though. He could be a bit younger, and the price is, you know, completely out of his price range. No one really is looking towards that. But yeah, you can see that there's a huge amount of differences here. And I actually have a secondary goal that I would like to mention here, but I'm not gonna adhere to it right now. I would like to focus purely on Italian players. I gave myself some leverage or you know, some breathing room for that. You can see that most of these players are not actually Italian. We have a Brazilian here, we have a French guy, Argentinian guy, Romanian guy, and German guy. But down the line, once we get established, I want... Oh, actually, it shows their flags here. I'm dumb. But eventually, I would like to focus purely on Italian players. Just, you know, for roleplay reasons, I would like to have a purely Italian team. There is a way how you can, you know, search for only Italian players, so that's what we're going to do. Okay, so I laid down my strategy. I think it all fell into place. Tomorrow we have another match. We're going to get some money out of that. The series will continue for 3 more rounds. I would be happy with a second place. I'm not sure if we're going to actually play with Toro, who is new. There actually wasn't a player there before. So let's see. Toro. Pigneto. I don't think either of them got Cianese and Toro. Yeah, neither of these are actual players, so we should be, and I'm hopeful that we're not gonna, you know, repeat the debacle from this week. But if everything goes well, we might actually win the next 2 matches, and that would allow us to retain the second place and get a hefty cash bonus at the end of the season. Another promotion, but a hefty cash bonus. So that's what I am looking forward to right now. The trainees I explained, so that's going to be the most that I want to update you guys on. I actually decided not to deal with youth team. A youth academy is actually players younger than age 17, which cannot play in your senior team. I decided to not throw any money on that at this point. I'm going to keep it on a back burner. We're going to look into that later on, but not right now. Because of financial reasons, I'm not entirely sure if, you know, it would be worth for us right now when we cannot, you know, devote, you know, enough time to it. But, well, it's something to keep yourselves occupied, but it never really paid for me. I guess the biggest bonus would be that we could draft our own trainees and, you know, work on them. So that's something that you can do. But yeah, for now, I'm keeping that on the back burner. We're not going to deal with that. Now, one thing that I'm actually going to talk about right now at least for a bit, because this video is getting way longer than I expected. I thought it would be done in 20 minutes and we're already at double of that. But, you know, it's an introduction, so that's that. There is a world match actually happening right now. And I have been watching the previous match and this match as well. Italy is doing very well in this. They have just won 3-1 against Poland this week, actually today, as I mentioned. And it's actually great. Actually, can I need to... how do I get into the matches? Okay, do I see it here somewhere? Because I watched the last one as well. It was against Honduras. No, wait, that's going to be the next one. Against Portugal, yeah, which they won 4-2. And it's actually amazing how Italy is, working. I actually watched the matches and compared the statistics, and you can see that they are completely outclassing the opponent. It's a big surprise that they won only 4-2 with, having all of the defenses, almost maxed. Midfield is a bit lacking though, so I guess they're playing more of a defensive game, trying to bypass the enemy or opponent. They're playing counterattacks, which means basically that you let the player lead through the midfield, but you overplay them at defensive, and then you go straight for attack, which, as you can see, is working for them very well. But where can I see that? Official Federation country Italy. I saw an overview of the matches. By the way, if you want to find something funny, look at this. This guy is 29 and has a TSI of 492,000. The highest one is actually this guy, who is... I don't think I can... He's in part of Team Italia. Yeah, he's a forward. So this guy is unpredictable and a forward player. His TSI is 514,000. Just to compare this, our best player I think we saw had like 2,500 right now. Yeah, 2,500. So it's just amazing. And as I mentioned, this guy belongs to a team. You can actually, if you're good enough and have players that are good enough, your players can be drafted into a national team, which is just amazing. I love that. So, what was the rule of... here it is, World Cup. So, we are actually in, or Italy is actually in a group with Honduras, Jamaica, and Polska. And, yeah, it defeated Poland, and I don't know, I think it's going to have a problem defeating Honduras and Jamaica. So they're almost completely... they're guaranteed to continue. And I don't think there's much... Actually, can I see the previous rounds? Oh yeah, I can see it here. No. Wait, this is not what I wanted. World Cup here? Yeah, here. So I checked it in the first round. You can see there was way more teams. And Italy was Italia. Okay. They were in the group P. And actually, Croatia won that. That's interesting. Croatia was better than them because Croatia was defeated by Italy later on. In the second round, Italy was where? Italy was here. They won the group with 14 points and moved together with Latvia. In the third round, Italy... Oh, poor Czech Republic. They got eliminated here in the G group. Italy was here, yeah, in Group C. And yeah, you can see that Croatia here completely burned. They were eliminated, and Italy and Belarus actually made it to the fourth round. And here, Italy is really doing good as well. So it seems like in the next, there's going to be two groups. So far, the candidates are Belgium, Canada, Austria, Netherlands, Slovakia, really interesting, and Belarus, Italy, and Honduras. And I would bet that Italy can actually move on forward and get into the finals. That would be really interesting. So I'm vouching for Italy this time. I'm actually gonna have to look into the other match, but this is something that I never really looked into that much. And it's interesting to see. There's a whole discussion thread with thousands of posts about this. There's a fan club that you can see. And yeah, I'm happy about this. Actually, if we want to see something interesting, let's see how many players went to this. How many fans went to this match? 95,000. Okay, and it was at Los Sureños. There's 205,000 places there, so it was full from about 46%. Okay, our beautiful stadium. I actually haven't really looked into that much. I actually just renamed it. I haven't really, changed the graphics or anything. We have 12,000 seats, and it's okay because we had like 2,500 people show up for our last match. So anyway, that's really all for this update. Thank you for joining me. I'll see you in the next one, which is going to come sometimes next week after we see how our players are going to do against this and how the cup is going to move. I'm just going to mention that we already are training. We had one set of training, and you can see that the playmaking has improved for Sven, Karsten Bieren, and Manfredi Nativo. Both of them moved to passable, increasing their skill, and we had one improvement in stamina and one decrease in stamina, while the form moved up and down for our players. So these guys actually already are better, and this guy, wow, nasty fellow. Thank God he's 27. He's not gonna be here for much longer with us. At least he's calm, At least he's calm. I'm focusing on this quite more than I actually should, because I had some players that made me really, they were a nightmare basically, because they just got cards all the time and injured other players. Don't want to do that anymore. So yeah, I'll see you in the next episode with an update, and that one is going to be much shorter. Usually these episodes got to about 5 to 10 minutes later on because we were just chugging along, showing updates of the trainees and the matches and everything. So I'm hoping to get into that again. So thank you for joining me. See you next time with more Hattrick. Cheers!